Today from all around the city, teachers, paraprofessionals, and concerned members of the public who care about our schools are gathering for a series of protests. We're protesting at Willis Tower, where David Vitale's United Corporation has its headquarters, but also in front of Madison Dearborn LLC, where hedge fund Ken Griffin makes his home, Levy Industries, recipients of TIF money at CPS, and at City Hall. There are demonstrations to call out and call attention to the amount of money which is being siphoned away from the public coffers, which is going to benefit corporations and the politically connected in the city. Then, after those feeder marches, we're all going to gather downtown at City Hall. And at City Hall, we're going to demand revenue to fund our schools. We're going to say the state has to do its part and the local government has to do its part. Both Rahm and the governor have to fund public education because cuts are not acceptable. And so if there's one message that we want everyone to take away from this today, it's that we cannot have more cuts in the public schools. They've been cut too much already. We're not talking about cutting fat. Now we're talking about cutting bone, muscle, and sinew. And our public schools will not survive more cuts and more attacks. David Vitale was the former president of the Board of Education. Under Vitale, the Board of Education engaged in a number of extremely risky financial deals which benefited the banks and worked out to the loss of the public schools to the tune of about $500 million. David Vitale has benefited personally and benefited handsomely from his connections, both to the United Corporation, where he's on the board making over $200,000 a year, but also, the banking industry, which he comes out of, has done very well off the public trust. And David Vitale is a perfect example of the kind of person who should be giving a lead and figuring out what corporate America can do to give back to the education system, not just taking from the education system for its own enrichment. The deals which he was the mastermind and the architect of worked out to the net loss of the public school system to the tune of $500 million, where the banking industry that he came out of benefited. Where's his lead in public on this issue? Where's David Vitale's voice? Where's David Vitale saying, the industry that I'm part of benefited massively, now it's time for this industry to give back to the public education system? He hasn't. And so until we hear him take a lead on that, we're going to assume that his personal benefit, that really what he's been doing is benefiting himself against the public institution which he was supposedly serving when he was appointed president.
For the last 40 or more years, taxes on the wealthy have been going down. They used to be as high as 90%. We are now, Illinois is bankrupt. The country is out of money. It's because the rich are not paying their fair burden. So it's time to tax the freaking rich already. What are we waiting for? TTFRA, tax the freaking rich already.
We're here today at the offices of Ken Griffin, the richest man in Illinois, because the mayor, that's right, because the mayor wants us to believe that there is no money for child care. The mayor's close friend, Ken Griffin, who received a $21 million tax break in 2015, which could have funded child care for 3,458 children. What do we say to that? Boo!
Ken Griffin has got to go. Hey, hey!
Ken Griffin got to go.
We're here today to fight to make sure that our children can have sound education and the staff can be gainfully employed. We're connected with Ken Griffin because we need the rich to pay their taxes so that we can allocate those funds to child care centers across the Chicagoland area.
I asked Ken Griffin, give us our money that you stole for our children. Give us our money you stole for our children. What do we want?
Child care.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Child care.
When do we want it?
Now.
And the reason we're here in front of the Citadel, in front of Ken Griffin's Citadel, is because even after this budget impasse that's hurting all of our members and hurting all of our people, we have in Local 1600, we have 4 campuses that are suffering layoffs because of this budget impasse. And that's wrong. And after this budget impasse, after we get Ronner, we need to get a progressive income tax. After this budget impasse is over, the battle, that's just one battle. The war is we need progressive income tax, LaSalle Street tax, so that your child care centers and our community colleges will not only survive but thrive into the future.
We're going to get you, and we're going to get all the rich people in Illinois to pay their fair share. We need to do this for the future of young people like that little girl right there. What do we want Ken Griffin to do? Give it back! Give it back! Give it back! Give it back!
Chicago is giving millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to downtown developers and luxury developments instead of to our classrooms. And a perfect example of this is River Point Plaza. This gleaming downtown skyscraper is brought to you by taxpayers spending $30 million for its construction.
Look behind you. This is where all the money is going. That's going for our schools. This is our future. For our students. Our mayor, he has caused money that will help schools, that will buy books, that will fund students' education, to be trickled down to his rich friends. And they'll be getting richer. And what this city has done, they're pushing us out. Can you afford to live in this building? We heard this morning that 80% of this building is already being bought. Boom! That means that the rich is getting richer.
For the past 30 years, we have a Democratic Party here in Chicago that has given arguments similar to that of the Republican Party of trickle-down economics. They say things that, like, if we give money to this development, somehow that wealth will trickle down to our schools and our teachers. But what have we seen the past 30 years? What is the real historical fact? The fact of the matter is inequality has worsened. We have less funding, not more funding for schools. We have less teachers. We have larger classrooms. And we have a lower standard of living for the everyday people that live in our neighborhoods. So the theory does not match the reality.
We're demanding that Mayor Emanuel use his leadership in the city to come up with revenue for the schools. We've suggested a number of things which we think are good sources of revenue. I mean, they should tax the wealthy. They should look at the money that's in TIF funds. They should think about doing any one of a number of things which could support our schools, let them open, and that would give them the credibility which they would need in Springfield to be able to get a fix out of the state. And those two things together would keep our school system running. If they can't do that and they want to turn back the blame on the people who work in the schools, we just think that that's a setup and we need to call Rahm Emanuel out for that.
We're outside of the City Council meeting that just began. City Council today is going to be looking at a number of important issues. If they are going to stop cuts to these schools, which do not need to happen, the City Council is going to have to show some courage, take some responsibility, and cut these cuts off. They're going to have to raise revenue in the city to save our schools. It is not true that the city has done everything possible to prevent these cuts. The mayor hasn't lifted one finger to raise one penny of new revenue for public education at the state or city level. And so we're going to have to take action to protect our schools and to continue the fight for progressive revenue, to tax the rich so that we can have the schools our students deserve. The City Council has this month and next month to take votes to raise revenue here on the city level. There's people protesting inside of the City Council. That room is full. They're telling us they can hear people chanting from the outside. There's another crowd downstairs holding a teach-in on the first floor of City Hall right now. A delegation just went up to the 5th floor, rallying outside of the mayor's office as well. So, it's a big action, a really diverse set of communities that have come together around this, but everybody's united that these cuts have to be taken off the table. That is an unacceptable solution. We have a right to public education. The only question should be, how are we going to fund it, not how are we going to survive under the poverty that they say we must just deal with.
But the city council is full with reserved seats. Hey, mic check! Mic check! Mic check! The mayor's office just told us. The mayor's office just told us that there is no room. That there is no room in the city council. In the city council. All the seats are full. All the seats are full. They were reserved. They were reserved. Held aside. Held aside. Kept aside for somebody else. Kept aside for somebody else. But we've been here. But we've been here since 8 in the morning. Since 8 in the morning. Let us in. Let us in. Let us in.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Ron Emanuel's got to go. Ron gotta go. Ron gotta go. Ron gotta go to jail.
My name is Barbara Cruz, and I just want to say that the fight for the Chicago Teachers Union, the fight for an elected school board, is a fight that's been needed for so long. We all graduated from Chicago Public Schools, and we're so proud to have been graduated from them. And yet Rauner calls these schools prisons. Yet Rauner can't even name any of these schools. Rahm keeps closing these schools. Rahm keeps failing to represent us. And that's why we need an elected school board. That's why we need a fair contract for our teachers. That's why we need stuff like CPAC. That's what we need.
We are in this building from the 5th floor all the way to the 1st floor. We want an elected school board. And an elected police board. There needs to be accountability at all levels. Stop racism. Stop racism. Defend the future of our children. Defend the future of our children.
My name is William Calloway. I'm a community activist and supporter of the Civilian Police Accountability Council. We're down here in record numbers to demand that Mayor Emanuel and the City Council implement a Civilian Police Accountability Council effective immediately. We're tired of all this hogwash that's going on with the Chicago Police Department, that they're not holding these police accountable. We demand justice for everybody that's been afflicted. We want justice for Reverend Brown, for Flint Farmer, Rikia Boyd, Ronald Johnson, Darius Pinex, Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Wesley, Rikia Boyd. We want justice for everybody. We want CPAC implemented right now. Right now. If we don't get it, we gonna tear it down, period. We gonna shut it down. We not asking for nothing. We demanding everything. We want justice for Laquan McDonald. We want justice for everybody in Chicago that's been afflicted by police misconduct, period. Period.
Rahm Emanuel has failed us. He has lied to us. He has allowed us to be mistreated, oppressed, taken advantage of, and we are not standing for it anymore. Rahm must go. We want Rahm to leave his post. We believe nothing you say. We're not accepting anything you say. We're fighting for everybody in our communities, our schools, our teachers, everything. We are going to stand together against oppression, against tyranny, against everything that's coming from this crooked and corrupt system. When I say teachers, you say union. Teachers! Teachers!
We shut down the 2nd floor. We shut down the 1st floor. Today we shut down City Hall. And tomorrow we'll shut down the city if we have to.